How you doing?
Well, sorry about yourself, man.
Hey, just trying to stay out of trouble.
Stay out of the fray, right? Stay away from the fray.
That's it.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Calling this meeting to order. Many apologies to our folks who are online. We had a special meeting right before this one, which ran over. Council member from Ward 1.
Present.
Thank you. Council member from Ward 2.
Present.
Council member from Ward 3.
Present.
Council member from Ward 4.
Present.
I believe council member from Ward 5 is coming in person.
He's on
or
his way.
online. Great. Council member from Ward 6, I need a motion to, thank you, Council member Delacour.
I'd move that we excuse Councilmember Fry.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Wonderful. All right. Moving right along, we did the Pledge of Allegiance. We could do it again, I guess, for our folks that are online.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Keep doing that while we still can. LED street lighting.
So,
We
Mayor,
should have
I'm going to turn it over to Director Brainman, if you
Okay,
don't mind, to
great.
make the introduction to introduce this subject. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Galloway. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Town Council, and Town of Cheverly. I'm pleased tonight to be joined by Ms. Sue Ellen Ferguson. I believe I reported a while back that PEPCO was coming forward with taxing staff on helping them out with an inventory of their streetlights. There's been an initiative to switch to LED lights for some time. Ms. Ferguson's been involved with this for years. There are some decisions coming forward, not tonight. And so I've asked Ms. Ferguson to give a 5 or 10,000 foot view of what where we're at now and where we're moving forward. She's working with, I think, 7 other municipalities. She's the expert in some of the calls that PEPCO has had. She certainly is on the point, and she's already sitting at the table with PEPCO. But I'm not going to try to get ahead of her. So I would just like to let Ms. Ferguson go through some of the aspects of the initiative, some of the options, and some of the decisions that will be coming forward to us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me this evening. And please interrupt with questions whenever you care to. There are two parts to this, what we're talking about tonight. One is the streetlight count. That is the result of a complaint that was filed by Al Carr, a former House delegate in Maryland who lives in Montgomery County, filed with the Public Service Commission, indicating to them that PEPCO really did not have good records for what streetlights were where and who should be paying for them. And so the PSC ordered PEPCO to do a full reconciliation of where the streetlights are and who should pay for them. And they've been doing that now for a number of months since the end of last year. They have, in each of the municipalities that I'm familiar with, it has taken multiple meetings and a lot of staff time. To come up with even the basic numbers. But they are starting to get there. They have required a lot of time from municipal officials and employees who are not ready for that particularly, but it's been moving along. The most recent one that I've been to, this is, I think, their 5th or 6th meeting with PEPCO, and they've been out in the field on multiple occasions looking at lights. So very recently, PEPCO came to the municipalities and said, oh, whoops, we've just found out from SHA, State Highway Administration, that they will not pay for their lights, the lights that shine on their rights of way, except at intersections. And they're expecting the local governments in whose jurisdictions those roads are to pay for that. They are not able to answer the question about whether or not the municipalities have been paying for those all along. We've asked for background as to why they would claim that the local governments are required to pay for those lights. And they still haven't come up with something definitive. We were supposed to get a letter from SHA. I've just found out today that there's no letter coming, that this has been kicked upstairs to the highest level, it's a quote, at SHA to start dealing with this issue. I have recommended to the folks that I'm representing that at this point, and some of them have so many state highway administration lights that it's upping their numbers by a quarter. So I've said that for right now, until we get some actual explanation of this, that you should dispute those, because you're not going to get an answer to any questions unless you do. Otherwise, you're just going to be paying for them. So they are attempting to comply with a Public Service Commission order in locating these lights. It's been a good thing for the municipalities, too, in one respect. PEPCO, up to this point, had only identified lights in their own system by latitude and longitude, not by address. And with the assistance of the municipalities, they now have addresses attached to them. So when something happens, you have a much better idea of where it is and what's going on and what you're being billed for. So they haven't done it voluntarily, but they are doing it now by order. The second piece of this is the part that I first started out with a couple of years ago, which is representing mostly municipalities in Montgomery County. College Park is part of the group also, with a tariff proceeding that started. I don't know if you're aware, but for at least 15, 16 years, municipalities have been able to buy their lights of right from PEPCO. PEPCO has not been cooperative in that process and, in fact, never provided pricing or help in any way. When the tariff proceeding was filed, we objected on various grounds. Tariff proceedings set through the PSC the types of charges that PEPCO can charge street light users. If it's not there, they can't charge for it. Our point to PEPCO was, you have stonewalled us for so many years. It's impossible to buy these lights unless the PSC requires that you enter into agree to certain agreements with us, like a sales agreement and pricing and a third-party attachment agreement. We're never going to get to buy the lights like we're allowed to do by law. The PSC agreed with that, in part because of all the counties in Maryland. And the PSC chair showed a picture, a satellite picture of all of Maryland. The rest of Maryland had blue lights. PEPCO had yellow lights. It was the only two jurisdictions that still were large majority for the old type of light and no LED installations. PEPCO had not installed LED anywhere. They're still all with high pressure sodium, which no one uses anymore. So over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been negotiating with PEPCO. We now have wording that's been approved by the Public Service Commission for a sales agreement, third-party attachment agreement. Third-party attachment agreement is if you're going to be on a PEPCO pole, they not only have to sell you the light, they also have to give you permission to be on it. So I think we've pretty much come to the end of that, and we think we have some agreed upon wording for that. We do have an idea about how much the lights will cost. It's going to be based on net book value. I think Steve Brayman has gotten some pricing from PEPCO as to what the lights in Cheverly would cost. Cheverly has three options for you in this tariff. One is kayak, and it's not a boat. It's CIAC, and it's contribution in aid of construction. PEPCO is requiring that you pay for the lights to have the lights purchased and installed, the LED lights. Either you contribute to that purchase price at the very beginning, and they provided some information based on 100 lights, say, and I understand you have 500 lights. For the kayak, if you pay up front to have these lights switched over to LED, it will cost you $1,587 per 100 lights. So it's not per 100, I'm sorry, per light. So if you had 100 lights, it's $158,700. And you can multiply that again by 5, since you have 500. It's very expensive because you're paying Pepco, which has a considerable bureaucracy, to put them in. The other way to do it is non-kayak. And what that means is that Pepco will buy the lights, and you will pay for them extra money every month for those lights forever. It's like a mortgage or a rent. You're renting those lights forever. It spreads the pricing out. It's still very expensive, but it spreads the pricing out over many years. If you ask, they will eventually provide you with a model or a template billing, what your billing might look like in both of these circumstances. The third option that you have is to buy the lights. Currently, the pricing for lights that are 1990 or before that for the high pressure sodium is $5 or less. You go back to 1988, it's $3 and something. So you buy because of the way that Pepco has kept their books over the years, and you do have to pay them something, even though, frankly, the high pressure sodium lights aren't worth anything. But the PSC is on board with adopting a net book valuation for these lights, and the negotiating team has agreed to that. And there is a chart that Pepco has provided for the LED lights that you have. Those are much more expensive. So if you are going to buy your lights, you should buy them now. Don't pay a lot of money to Pepco to put them in and then buy them, because they'll charge you twice. So if you want ownership of these lights to reduce your costs, then I would buy them in the foreseeable future. LED lamps typically will last at least 70,000 hours, up to 100,000 hours, and that's 25 years. Once LED lamps are put in, the maintenance costs are very low. Your energy cost, what it costs to run that light, is much lower than high pressure sodium. And so for those reasons, it's good to consider whether you wish to buy them or not. And like I said, you can get more information from Pepco. They have to give it to you as to what your monthly billing would look like on each of these options. A number of the municipalities are interested in buying their lights. We're still not receiving full information from Pepco. You do have an option, even if you own your own lights, to have them maintained by Pepco, which should cost a separate amount, and they haven't provided that amount yet for the tariff. Or you can have a private company do it. There are a number of systems you can look at for examples. There are some in the Northeast and in the Midwest, where municipalities, local governments have gotten together and have one company maintaining for them. They own their own lights, and the company maintains. With Pepco's setup, it's much more expensive for them to run your street lights than it would be for you to own them and maintain them. That's just the bottom line of this. But it's up to you as to which of those three options you want to follow. I've thrown a lot of information at you, and I will take questions of what I've said. If there's anything that you would like to know more about tonight, my understanding from Mr. Brayman is that this was just supposed to be an initial conversation to lay out for you what's been going on up to now. We are happy to report, as I said, that we have the 2 agreements negotiated. So you don't have to negotiate with Pepco as to what your contract will look like with them. And you don't have to negotiate with them as to how much your lights will cost, because they have to put out a chart and they have to go by it. They also were previously wanting to charge the municipalities for looking at the lights and figuring out what the wattage is, looking at them up on the poles and doing a survey. They are no longer requiring that. If you want to buy your lights, they have to conduct the survey and provide the information so that you know from the chart what it would cost you to buy the lights. So the tariff, they're pushing to file the tariff very soon. And if we don't have all the information that we've been requesting from them, then a number of the municipalities will object to the tariff because it goes into effect 30 days after it's filed unless objections are filed. So, do you have any questions?
Well, if I may, the good news is that the tariff hasn't been filed. Ms. Ferguson and I discussed earlier today. I would estimate 45 to 120 days is about the time that they may file it. And so we have some time to learn more about this and to make a decision. And also, too, I was actually expecting the lights were 25, but what I've heard back from Pepco is they cannot find any information as of yet on the age of our lights, which would have them be considered 1990 or older. I'm surprised they don't even know about the ones that we've recently purchased. Those we'd probably pay, they'd figure that out. But in calculating that, that's a very low dollar amount, and it's actually within our current budget. And as I understand it, we might have we would have the option, if we buy them, we don't have to immediately move forward with the converting them to LEDs, although I know people are interested in that. But and basically, the cost savings of the electricity would at some point, probably 5 to 6 years out, pay for an LED conversion when we get to that point. But with that, I just wanted to add that, and I apologize for jumping in, but you all probably have questions of Ms. Ferguson.
Mr. Brayman, before we get to Ms. Ferguson, can you clarify? We have about 500 lights, and to do the conversion is already in our budget. Is that accurate?
No, what we have in our budget, we have a line item that is streetlight installs, repairs, and converts. And we have not had any numbers as of yet, but that line item is at $25,000. And when I calculate, I think we have about 550 lights. When I calculate 550 times 25, I think that's less than $3,000. The cost, I was actually thinking it was going to be $25 per light, but so we have the monies to move forward, I believe. But we don't have solid numbers from Pepco. I mean, this has been a very difficult, confusing aspect because Ms. Ferguson just said we're not required to give them wattage, but they're out there making us tell them what wattage and what type of light it is and what type of head it is. And so we're nearing completion of that inventory with them. But one of the things I expect coming forward in the next month or two would be them giving us an actual price for purchasing the lights. Would that be right, Ms. Ferguson? That's what we'd be pushing for?
Yes, whatever components are involved in buying those lights and in installing other lights is what you want to know. The cost that they would charge you to install an LED light is much more, at least 3 times more, than you would pay just to have it done. And so they need to tell you what they're going to charge to have an LED light change out. And once you do change it out, of course, your electric costs go down considerably. I think it's by 75%.
And there we budget $100,000 for the electricity. So right there would be a significant savings. So I think step one, though, is I just wanted to say, I understand step one would be looking at purchasing the lights. And so in the not too distant future, we'd be bringing forward, I think, numbers for purchasing. Maybe we'd have other numbers for converting. But I believe in the regularly we have had a line item in our budget to cover for installs and repairs, and it's currently at $25,000, and it sounds like that is likely to cover the cost of purchasing the lights. And then I think we'll be in a position to map out how we actually want to. We're under no obligation to immediately move forward, but we'll be able to strategize how we actually convert the lights over time, or however we can afford.
Okay. Councilmember Gallagher.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, so I just wanted to get some clarification. So the kayak, so if we buy LED lights from Pepco, they're going to charge us $1,587 per light. But that's different from buying the lights ourselves. And when you say buy the lights, I've got prices for the sodium lights. That's like $5 or $3, right? But is there a way to get LED lights separately from? No, you can't.
Yeah, you can install them yourself later.
Yeah, you can get LED lights separately from Pepco, i.e. from a different source.
Oh, yes. You can put, as long as you can contract with the company that does that, and they will. They won't allow that if they're going to keep the lights. You can do that only if you buy them, and then you can switch them out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And doing it not through Pepco is at least 3 times as cost effective.
And I believe that's what some or most of the municipalities in Montgomery County are considering, if I'm correct on that.
Okay. Follow-up question. Do we have a sense of prices of LED lights separate from buying them from Pepco? Do we, like, I heard the cost of sodium lights, which is, cheap up front and higher energy costs. But what about what if we were to get LEDs ourselves? Do we know? Do we have an idea?
I have some idea. I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm
Makes
not in
sense.
the business.
Right.
But from my understanding, we have been talking to people who run systems in other places, and that they have been able to do a conversion from high pressure sodium to LED at less than $250 per fixture. And that's with a dimmer. So, and you want a dimmer because you can save money that way too.
Right.
So, and once installed, LEDs have a long half-life and a low maintenance cost. So, and of course they use a lot less energy. Environmentally, it's the correct thing to do. And Pepco has been told by the PSC they have to do it one way, it has to happen one way or the other. They've got to do it with the other lights. If people who don't buy their lights, they have to replace all the lights over to LED. They're using a bulb that nobody makes anymore, so just practically speaking, they have to do that.
Councilman Watson?
Yes, I was just going to say I would be happy to see on an upcoming work session agenda an authorization to purchase the lights. Just purchase the lights from Pepco, and then I would, suggest then that we could move out from there once that's done with, cost-effective conversions as the budget allows.
Okay. I have a lot of questions, and I'm not sure if everybody else has them, but the quote that you just gave for $250, is that purchasing from Pepco?
No.
It's from a private company different from Pepco.
That's if you purchase your lights. You
Okay.
would purchase your lights, and then you would buy an LED lamp and switch it out
Okay.
for
So
the high-pressure sodium lamp that's there right now.
just for that alone, for the 550 lights, adds up to $137,500. Now, we obviously are not switching out all of the lights at one time. But if we're doing the authorization from Pepco, what is the cost from them per light?
It's
If
$800.
Pepco does it,
Yes.
okay.
It's 3 times that quote.
Well, I can show you possibly, can I share screen? Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
What you should see is streetlights options for LED conversion. Okay, this was provided by Pepco. On the left, you can see where it says kayak, SSL OH LED. That's overhead LED. Kayak is that contribution in aid of construction. And they're saying that to upgrade 100 existing high-pressure sodium Cobra heads to LEDs at 50 watt will cost per 100 $158,700. So you would multiply that number by 5 if you were going to pay your costs up front to Pepco. They would still own those lights, by the way, but they wouldn't charge you over decades for putting them in. Okay. On the right-hand side, there's no upfront cost from you, non-kayak. And so it's $15.17 per month, per light, forever, extra. So you're financing it. And I think Mr. Brayman has a copy of this that he can distribute to you. But those
Actually,
are
do
the
not. So if you could
you don't?
forward it to
okay,
us.
I'll send it over. These are the 2 ways that you can do this through Pepco. Frankly, doing it through the kayak is so expensive that almost no one can really afford that. And you're paying a lot for that service. It's a lot more than it actually costs to do it. So
Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing now unless you want me to keep that up.
If you can hold
sorry?
up for 1 second, because that created 4 more questions for me, so that's great. So if I calculate non-kayak, right, and just say, this gets us the LED lights, and let's say we do that for, these are from 1990, what we presently have, somewhere close to that, so let's say we calculate for 50 years. Then my total that I've spent extra is $75,850, and I still have a lower light bill. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I lost you. Are you referring, for some reason, your microphone, I'm not able to hear very well. I can hear everybody else's fairly well, but not yours. So,
Is that
if
better?
you're talking about one of these 2 options here, then there's an upfront cost. You don't own the lights, but you don't have to pay for them over time, which is even more expensive. On the right, you haven't paid anything up front, to them, but they are charging you for those lights. It's just going to be over many years. They're going to charge you extra every month for every light. So if you have 500 plus lights, multiply that by $15.17 for each year, each month.
So hold on one second. The $15.17 is per light.
Yes.
All right. Per month. So we pay an extra, this is extra, $8,343 a month.
You would pay $15.17 times 500, whatever that comes out to be.
Per month.
Yes.
So,
Extra. That's extra, other than that doesn't take into consideration operation and maintenance or your power costs or any of that. It's just so they'll put an LED light in.
okay. So if I look at kayak up front, I'm looking at something like $850,000, almost $1 million, correct?
You're right. Yeah. Yes.
All right. If I look at non-kayak over a 25-year period, I'm looking at paying $2 million for some lights.
Yes.
And can you tell me what is the significance of Pepco owning the light? Does that help me in some way?
It's their system. That's the way it works.
So do I care if they own the light? Because if I own the light, if I purchase it from a private company, then Pepco no longer owns the light, correct?
You cannot, as a local government, put your own light through someone else on the pole unless you have purchased the street light from Pepco.
Okay. And the cost to purchase the street light from Pepco is?
I don't know the dates of they have to give you a survey and tell you what the dates on your lights are, or they can just concede and say, it's $5 or less. So $5 or less.
Okay, so to purchase all of my street lights is approximately $3,000.
Could be more. Let's round up and say 5.
Okay, I'm fine with that. 550 times $5 is $2,750, but I'm fine with 5. And so what we're saying is, what it looks like to me is it is better for us to purchase all of our lights and then do a private system because it's less than $2 million and it's less than $850,000.
Point well taken.
Okay. All right. I think that's all my questions, Councilmember Briner.
But if we own the system, what does that do in terms of our capacity for upkeep and maintenance? We would be responsible for that. So, you can't do this math in your head, Mr. Brayman, but what does that look like in additional costs?
I believe that's something that we need to explore more. I'm hoping there's 7 municipalities. I'm hoping to join this consortium, I'm going to call it, with Ms. Ferguson. You may or may not know Ms. Ferguson has handled the cable franchise agreements for most of the municipalities in Prince George's County, I think, through 2 rounds. And so I'm hoping that this group grows. But the LEDs needing less maintenance and trying to get a service company, utilizing like cooperative purchasing or a group of us, that it would be cost effective. But I think that is something that we need to explore more. But I believe that there are municipalities that are already convinced, and I believe there is a gentleman who has lended his services to help them learn that servicing these can be efficient, cost efficient, even through when you're owning them and you're a single municipality.
Through a private company, yes. That is possible to do. Also, Pepco is supposed to be providing, as part of the tariff, like I said, they can't charge for something if it hasn't been identified in the tariff. So they have said they may be willing to offer maintenance, and they're supposed to provide a price for that so that you could compare it to a private company doing it. We've been trying to get them to nail it down as to what, if there's any other fees that they want to have for buying these lights and being able to switch out the light. We've been able to get them to agree that they will not charge make-ready charges or any of that type of thing, or survey charges or application fees for switching out the light from high-pressure sodium to LED, because that's why the municipalities, and one of the reasons they're buying them is to get that done quickly, and to get the charges for power to come down. So they're not charging for that. They're saying they want to do a disconnect switch, which we're going to be fighting with them about. It's not a huge number, but it's still, we think, a fee that they want to charge that they shouldn't be able to charge because it's got no value. But we're still tussling about that one. But you can have either a private company maintain, or you can have Pepco maintain. Once they give you the number as to what that's going to cost, you can compare. My guess is that they will cost a good deal more just because they have such a bureaucracy in their system.
But there still are several moving parts, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to give you an upstream. And as you can tell, Ms. Ferguson is well more versed on this than I am. In fact, I believe she's probably the most well-versed person on this, except for former Delegate Carr.
Ms. Ferguson, it sounds like you're on the advocacy end as well. I have a really hard time paying for other people's dysfunction. If we identify lights that Pepco does not know we have because they have kept such poor records, why should we pay them for that light?
Because each jurisdiction has its own fact pattern. And you will deal with that as works out best for you. I would prefer not to actually discuss that on camera.
Okay. Councilmember Delacour and then Watson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to make a preaching to the choir comment. We had folks from Pepco try to talk about household saving costs. Then there's the devices that they put to do load bearing, so it will shut your AC off. And so clearly there's an incentive that they have to manage the load on their system. So, but apparently you can make money off of having sodium lights, these ancient sodium lights from the previous century. So this is just a complaining, preaching to the choir comment, but I really feel like in a future session when we're talking to Pepco, we should bring that up and say, hey, why is this not in your interest to help municipalities as well as individual households save energy? Thank you, and I yield.
I'll just add that I think, I agree with all of that. I think if we have a certain number, we have a subset of our lights that they don't know about. Let's say it's 25 lights, I don't know. But 25 is a good round number. I would rather them pay them $125 for those 25 lights, because if I don't, I can never upgrade those 25 lights. Otherwise, they'll probably find out during the upgrade process that they own them. So in other words, we could never take independent action to upgrade those 25 lights without paying the $125 to buy them, because we're likely to get caught.
Okay. The last thing I just want to offer everyone at the table is just a quick calculation, which is our budget for our electric bill for the year is $100,000. And if we were to consider the non-kayak form where we have the additional fee, that's literally our entire budget for our electric, just to pay that additional fee. So neither one of those are feasible options in terms of just our budget alone. Ms. Ferguson, I would like to hear from you offline, your opinions later on, because I really, I don't care if it's $125. It's irritating to me to pay for other people's poor documentation. So if there's other ways around that, I would certainly like to know what it is, even if it's through policy or advocacy from the General Assembly side. Is there any more questions or comments at the table? No? Okay, this is a work session, so we actually do have time set out for resident input. If you are a resident and you would like to provide input on this particular topic, you can come forward. Please state your name, your ward, and keep your comment or question to 3 minutes. I think that one's it.
Thank you. Leila Riazi, Ward 1. Thank you so much, Ms. Ferguson, for sharing this information. One of the things that I want to bring forward for Mayor and Council to consider is to step beyond the cost to actually doing, as you move forward with this, to doing a robust look at what lighting you're choosing and where it's placed, the wattage of the lighting. I know back in 2018, when communities were looking at this, and it was a whole different financial picture then, as Ms. Ferguson probably knows, Tacoma Park was one of the first communities to move forward with this. And they did a study, there were some concerns about blue light and all of these things. But really what came out, and if you see their resolution, what they moved forward with, there's some important considerations in there. One, they chose 3,000 Kelvin lighting. They made sure that the wattage was specific to the need. Some of the lights were over wattage for the need. They also worked with the current fixtures on the street relating to light trespass, as far as how the lights were coordinated, and then also to use shielding that was available, that PEPCO was able to provide, so that you weren't throwing and having the light trespass. Also in the idea of trying to make sure that we are not exacerbating light throwing to the sky and having dark sky compliant lighting, however possible, using some of that shielding. So please, you can look at Tacoma Park's resolution that they passed back in 2018 for establishing their LED lighting. And there are other municipalities that you could look at in this process. There's also information, I'm sure, through MML of the communities that have come before and what some of the challenges they've faced, the mistakes they made. And if you reach out to Tacoma Park, you can get a full, and there was a committee here, I think at the time chaired maybe by Norm Oslick, that went deep into the look of LED lighting replacement, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and trying to avoid the bad and the ugly. The picture has vastly improved. So I'm really, really thankful that Ms. Ferguson came forward with information. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Please come forward.
Good evening, Joyce Jones, Ward 2. Thank you so much, Ms. Ferguson. I have a question for you because I'm not sure I understand things, or maybe a clarification, and that is, when you talk about the consortium, would that allow for both maybe better prices in purchasing of the lights themselves and also in the future for maintenance contracts, if the consortium got together for both of those things? And I also have a comment when she's done.
It won't affect the price that PEPCO is going to charge. That's an accounting measure.
No, I'm talking about if the lights are purchased independently to try to get
Sure.
a better price by having a volume.
I said a little earlier, I'm the lawyer, I know that there are companies out there that do this. I've talked to people who've used them, but I don't know what can be negotiated depending. It's going to depend on numbers, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then I just had a quick comment. Last fall, Sheila Sallow, the chair of the Green Infrastructure Committee, myself on the Green Infrastructure Committee, went to 4 different towns as part of a Sustainable Maryland tour. And one of the towns we went to, Washington Grove, talked about this issue. And I brought it actually to Mr. Galloway, who referred me to Mr. Brayman. And I just wanted to give a shout out that I was not surprised to find that our town already knew about this issue and was in the process of going through it. So I was, hoping I was bringing some exciting new stuff to them, but they were already on top of it. So I had to give a shout out to Mr. Brayman and Mr. Galloway for that. Thank you so much. Oops.
All right. Anyone else at this table? In person? Online? Nope. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Ferguson.
If I may, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to let you know, I plan to continue to work with Ms. Ferguson on refining our feedback to PEPCO, analyzing it, and bringing forward to you more details in the not-too-distant future.
Mr. Raymond, I have full confidence in you. If you could bottle up my frustration similar to that of WSSC and give PEPCO a little dose of it, that'd be great.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night, Ms. Ferguson. Thank you for joining us. All right, Mr. Geller.
Mayor and Council, good evening. The Office of Human Rights notified us last minute that they will not be attending this evening. So they've asked to be put on the April work session. So I will confirm that in April.
All right. Well, with that, my apologies to our Cheverly Community Market. I know that you logged on at exactly 7:30, so I really appreciate your patience. We were still in our special meeting, but if you're still on, we'd love to hear from you about your grant requests. Is she still there?
So, Mayor, I had a conversation with Aaron earlier this week, and this grant is, okay, I'm sorry, there she goes.
Is she still there? Okay. Thank you for your patience.
She's rejoining as a panelist.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I am here from the Cheverly Community Market. We are seeking to receive a town grant this year to continue our benefits match program. In the past, we have supported a match for the town of Cheverly residents who receive nutritional benefits at the market. And what we do with the match is that when residents of Cheverly spend nutritional benefits at the market, for example, if someone was to use SNAP or WIC or the farmers market nutritional benefits that are available for seniors, we provide them with a match. So if someone's going to say spend $30 in SNAP benefits, we would give them $30 of match that is provided by Maryland Market Money, and then we also supplement that with grant funds from the town of Cheverly. That would be $10 per person, which is just a flat match. Or we also do a match from our own fundraising for anyone who attends the market, because we do have people who visit the market that don't necessarily live in Cheverly. So we are seeking that grant to continue doing that match. So I don't know if y'all have specific questions or if you wanted me to go into more details about how it works, but that's the overall request. And the grant request is for $2,000, which is what we've asked for in the past.
All right, thank you, Aaron. I know that we have supported this many, many times. It's certainly for a good cause. Galloway, did you have a recommendation?
Yeah, I recommend that the mayor and council move forward with putting this on the agenda for approval.
Okay. Is that a consent agenda item?
On the consent agenda item, yes, ma'am.
Council,
At
can
the
I get a
town hall
thumbs
meeting.
up? Is that something that you all would support? All right, great. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience in waiting for us to get to you.
Great, thank you so much.
Hey, Mayor, before we go to the next one, can I bring number 8 up?
I believe the folks for the variance they're no longer with us, right? They're not coming?
No, they're not.
Okay, so we don't need to do a motion to change the agenda because they're not coming.
Can we bring number 8 up just so that I can notify the community on this matter?
That's fine. Well, then if we're going to move it, then I think we need a motion to change the
Motion
agenda.
to amend the agenda to move item number 8, the 5600 Newton Street variance, up to now, which would be number 6.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, the ayes have it. Mr. Galloway, the update for the street variance.
You're going to item number 8, but I'd like to discuss 6.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask for order and decorum. What we have just had was a vote to move up number 8 because that is a topic that's going to take less than 60 seconds to address, and then we're going to go back to number 6.
Mayor and council, it's not going to take me long. Just wanted to let you all know that the owner of 5600 Newton Street has pulled their proposal to build the house. And in fact, they've indicated to me that they are trying to sell the property. So, Mayor and Council, just to let you all know, we'll be getting the property surveyed so that we can determine what the value is for the property and then have that conversation later. Just wanted to let you all know in the event that people were here waiting for that discussion, because I know that's been a hot ticket item. And that's all that I have for that right now.
All right. Okay. So with that, the 5600 Newton Street variance is technically null and void. Is there any comments from around the table or questions? All right. You can still provide resident input. Please come up, state your name, ward, and keep your comment or question to 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Again. Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Joyner and would like to address 2 notes. Let's see. Okay. To assemble here, having heard all the devastating flood of 2020, it is my sincere hope that Alicia, the builder, and all concerned are indeed concerned about the health and safety of anyone housed at the 56 Newton Street lot. And should that happen again, to Alicia, the builder, may I draw your attention to 5702 Newton Street, just in the next block. It is an existing construction, but as the builder can show your proudness and adapt it to the homeowner's specifications. Plenty of rear yard for deck or extension at the back of the house, a driveway, something to consider. Thank you very much, and thank you, council, for denying the build on that lot. Thank you very much.
We did not. We didn't.
So,
Well,
your comment has been made part of the record. Mayor and council did not vote on the variance.
Yeah.
We did talk with the builder, we talked with the owner, and they've made the decision to pull their request.
thank you for sharing that information, pardon me, and thank you for the correction. Thank you for sharing that information.
All right, anyone else?
It's always good to come to a work session and have a really happy item on the agenda. Leila Riazi, Ward 1. Passing around, all of Mayor and Council received recommendations from the Cheverly Green Infrastructure Committee. We dove in deep to find out what was going on with the lot and wanted to make sure that each of you also had a short form of that. We're very pleased to hear that the builder has withdrawn the desire to build because our conclusions supported that this lot is unbuildable. We also listened to the residents in a special working meeting of the Green Infrastructure Committee and are very grateful for the information they brought forward. And what we heard in that meeting was that building on this lot would continue to impact them and worsen the impact of any subsequent flooding. And that the trauma of the 2020 September 10 flood still remains with these families. So anything that can be done, both to purchase the property and then also to work with the community, similarly to how Councilmember Wade has worked with the Community Native Planting Group, to make this a green space or other useful space for the community that does not put hardscape on the surface would be, as we understand, very welcome from the neighbors. And the Green Infrastructure Committee, I would say, would support. Thank you very much. Happy to hear it.
Councilmember Briner?
Yeah, in the spirit of being open to input and everything, I would ask my fellow council member that if you're planning a meeting that is being billed as a community forum or a place to hear, that you let council know, because I didn't realize that that was the intent of this meeting until well after the meeting happened. So if you could just give us a heads up so we can attend if that's the intention. Just because I work full-time, so I didn't have a chance to review any materials that were sent within the workday today. So I just want to make sure that I have all the information going into a meeting.
Yeah. Respond.
Councilmember Wade.
Thank you, Councilmember Briner, for your input. I looked at it as a Ward 1 event for just the individuals around that area. So it was a last-minute thing. As you know, I just got back in country, so it was literally a last-minute decision to be made. But just like with anything that's done in the ward, all the council members have various events that is not always publicized. So it was definitely a last-minute aspect. So I'll definitely take that in consideration going forward.
All right, anyone else? Okay, well, with that, speed humps on Crest Avenue. Councilmember Watson, do you want to take that?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so we had a meeting, I don't know, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, before the winter. The engineer and I think Mr. Brayman and Mr. Galloway attended, and from that came the recommendations from the engineer. They were for, I think, 2 speed humps in one location and 1 speed hump in another location. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And then I think there is some resident input to recommend a change to the engineer's proposal of the location for one of the speed humps. But everyone is in favor of speed humps in this block. This is the 2800 block of Crest, so between Forest Road and Greenleaf Road. And so I think tonight I would ask the council to approve them following hopefully a conversation that clarifies the location of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Watson. Councilmember Watson or Mr. Brinkman, do we know if the resident input we received after our last meeting, did that go to Mr. Good to see if that needs to move or if it's fine where he's already made the recommendation? Do we know if that went there already?
I am unsure that he received that. But I believe the recommendation he sent in was for 2 speed humps. One to be located at, and the report is in your packet, 2806 Crest Avenue, and the other one at 2811, 2818 Crest Avenue. But what I was going to indicate, though, was I believe we can work with the feedback in the motion and look at relocating these speed humps accordingly.
Okay, don't quote me, but I believe the email that came in was to
He has
consider
2 addresses, though, at the 2811 and 2818, so I may be reading his report incorrectly here.
Okay, I'm not sure if you caught that. I will make sure that we forward the email just to be on the safe side. I believe that the second number was, instead of 2806, it was 2808, but I may have made that up. So we just want to make sure wherever it is the best location.
Okay, and we can work with folks out there if necessary when we're doing this.
All right. I don't see any issues with approving this. It still needs to probably have discussion, and so I don't know if that would go on the consent agenda, but is everybody kind of in favor and support of the recommendations?
Can you vote on it tonight? I thought my understanding was after that meeting, you all were going to vote on it this evening.
Well, I need a motion.
Well, I'll kick it to Councilmember Watson.
I'm happy to make a motion. I may have to modify my motion after we hear the resident input, but I'll make a motion anyway to get the discussion going to authorize Mr. Galloway and his team to install 2 speed humps in the 2800 block of Crest Avenue. I believe it is 1 speed hump at 2811/2818 and 1 speed hump at 2806.
Can I ask you to leave your motion as just 2 in the 2800 block, and then that way we don't have to change it? Because we know it's all in the 2800 block.
So moved.
All right. It's been a motion. Is there a second? All right. Any discussion? All right. Resident input.
Good evening. My name is Rita Kane. I live on Crest Avenue, Ward 2, 2803 Crest Avenue. The only reason, first of all, thank you very much. I'm very appreciative of the fact that we will have hopefully 2 speed bump. The problem that I have, what I would like to recommend is to change location number 1. Location number 1 is actually very close to a stop sign. Our houses and our street numbers are in such a way that, for example, I'm on 2803, and you are 2012, and she's right across my house. So 2806 is actually very, very close to where we were actually talking, that area. So having that bump or that hump right beside a stop sign might not be as effective as, we would want it to be. As far as the other location, it does make sense, but it's just the first location, the location number 1, that I would like to know if we could kind of reconsider or look. I would be willing to recommend that it be maybe positioned around 28, which is my house, between 2803 and 2801 on the odd number, and it would mean on the even number, I think it would coincide to 2808. You see, it just doesn't just push it just a little bit down. I think it would be much more effective than having it too close to the stop sign. And that's it.
Thank you. I think that's something that we can evaluate out in the field. So I'll ask Director Brayman. I'm sorry. That's something that we can evaluate out in the field. I'll ask Director Brayman and our traffic engineer, Good, to go out and reassess that one, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
So we do know it will be in that block,
Yes.
or in that proximity. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, and we'll make a field call from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Resident info?
Joyce Jones, Ward 2. Super quick, just thank you for considering this. Thank you for my neighbor, and I have to say merci, because she speaks French and is French. Anyway, I live at 2812, and it's we know about the speeding in town, and people just come flying down that block, and so, you know, we want our kids to be safe, we want our dog walkers to be safe, our people pushing strollers, we want everybody to be safe, so thanks so much.
I think Ms. Salt's going
Thank you. Since sitting here waiting, might as well talk. I live on Forest, and we've been beneficiaries of the bump that was put in on our block, and I'm here to support the Crest people and their suggestion to adjust. I think that makes sense. And so I'm here to support my neighbors because they supported us. But while we're at it, when we had the meeting where all the folks came up to the corner, I called to your attention that there is no handicap cutout at that block, in that intersection. And since I use a scooter now and then, I, kind of noticed that, when I had a dog and I'd walk, I'd have to go to a driveway and then come back. So while you're doing whatever you're doing, if you want to look at possibly putting a cutout at that intersection so that you can cross from Forest across Crest with a cutout, as you have. It's an interesting that there's none at that intersection, and there is at most of the others in town. So
Certainly.
while I've got it, okay?
Thank you.
I'm Barbara Solz, Forest Road, Ward 2. Those of you who don't know.
Thank you.
Oh my.
It's your coat. Yep, you're fine. You're okay. It's okay. Thank you for coming to support your neighbors. All right, it looks like that's everyone in person. Anyone online? I don't see hands. Great, all right. So it's been motioned, seconded, we've had discussion.
Can I jump in this one real quick?
Mr. Galloway?
Councilmember Watson, can I ask you to modify your motion, please, to include the cutouts?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. So I'd like to motion to empower Mr. Galloway and Mr. Brayman to install 2 speed humps in the 2800 block of Crest Avenue, and to modify the curb at the intersection of Forest and Crest to include appropriate cuts for accessibility.
I second that as well.
Motion has been modified and seconded once again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations, Crest. All right. Keller Construction and Mr. Brayman?
Yes, hi, good evening again. We have Mr. Tremblay back to update us on the schedule.
Okay. Can everyone hear me before I start? Just make sure my microphone is working.
Yes, it is.
Yep, perfect. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I provided an update, broad update, 2 weeks ago at the March 13th meeting on the status of the new Public Works facility. At that time, we had requested a little bit more time to complete our schedule update, as we just received our approval from SCD for our resequencing of our permit. We have that. We completed our schedule update in the past couple of weeks for the remaining activities to complete construction. The schedule update reflects that we are tracking about 10 weeks, which is just a little bit over 2 months behind our original schedule. The project was to be complete 12 months after receipt of the building permit. That building permit was issued in March of 2024. Our focus right now is on achieving use and occupancy, and so the focus is through the public utilities that are required to be able to complete the activities, the life safety activities that are necessary to get use and occupancy. I do have a couple of key dates to share on that schedule update. One is we expect to have our demo or our raise permit for the existing Public Works building by Monday, the 31st, this coming Monday. So you should be seeing that existing building coming down starting right after that. And we expect that it's only going to take no more than a week to remove that building and pull up the slabs, the existing floor slabs. May 19th is the date we have on there to expect permanent power from Pepco. There's numerous steps involved in having that permanent power brought in to the site. And there's a process there, but May 19th is when we expect that to be in. And then we're looking at a substantial completion date of June 6th. So when we say substantial completion, that is synonymous with our use and occupancy. So the question is, why are we late, and what is being done to recover or accelerate that? The same reason that I provided at the last meeting, the biggest impact we've had right now is the resequencing of the site plan, the sediment control sequence of construction that was on our permit. We had a conflict with a stabilized construction entrance in the location of the transformer pad. It was a relatively simple modification to be able to just move that entrance away from the transformer pad to be able to allow that to happen. Obviously, we have to have the transformer in first before we can occupy the new building. They can't be in the same place at the same time. However, the process of getting that simple change done ended up taking a lot of several months with the process with SCD. Again, we thought this was going to be able to be done at the inspector level. Worst case, maybe a red line revision, but ultimately had to go in for a full resubmission just to be able to make that happen. Concurrently, we were able to add some scope changes to the project to make some improvements with the mayor and council chambers and the and AV card readers and AV adds to the job, so that those were able to be added without any additional time, because it's a concurrent with the times on the delay of getting the project resequenced. And then back to what is being done to recover or accelerate that schedule. So the team, meaning the Public Works team, as well as our design and engineering team and Keller's team, are collaborating with those public utilities. So we're using all of our resources at the highest levels, as well as the town's governmental liaisons, to work with Pepco, WSSC, Washington Gas, and Comcast to be able to make sure that those life safety affected or driven utilities are going to be able to come in. There's on time. There are a lot of steps involved in there. It's not just a simple phone call. They have to come out and do some inspections, have meetings, make sure everything's in place before they actually send their crews out to activate their services to our site. We're also working to, once we have certain utilities in, we're looking at what we call stacking finish trades. And by stacking trades, what it means is we'll have multiple crews for the finishes to be able to complete the interior work more rapidly, to be able to get to that deadline, and potentially even improve that deadline of that June 6th date, and see if we can't pull that back, even improve that date from where we are right now. There was a question that was brought up about a January completion date, so I just wanted to be proactive and update where that came from. That January completion date came from one of Keller's previous project managers. He provided that date, I think in good faith, but without fully being able to substantiate that date and some of the activities that were needed to be able to achieve that date. So that was unfortunately not based on the correct information. And one of the things that he had put in there was the assumption that we were going to be able to get that resequencing permit change by October, or at least have the existing building demolished by October of last year. And obviously that didn't happen. It doesn't mean that we're the January date, again, it's not our contractual date, but we are, like I said, the contractual date would be March. And then like I said, we're tracking approximately 2 months past that currently and hoping to improve. And then the last update would be with our budget, and just to update everyone that we are still within the say it's the original budget plus some additions that were added by the town during construction for the audio-visual, some of the DIAS and casework for the interior, the solar array for the roof to provide on-site electrical, and then some of the FF&E items and some of the equipment for the lifts and other equipment for the garage spaces or the vehicle maintenance base in the project, and we are still within that budget. So that's my update, and I can field any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cheverly. Councilmember Briner?
I may have missed this, but to be 100% clear, what is our estimate for the fences around going up the hill and around the front grassy area in Town Park? What is our estimate for those coming down?
I don't have an estimate for that. Our project executive, Justin Short, who is, I'm not on the construction operations side. He was going to be here this evening, but he had a commitment with one of his children. So I don't have an exact date for that, but obviously my understanding is that's happening soon. I mean, there's some public utilities work that went in that fence from Forest Drive all the way down, but that work, as my understanding, is already in. The connections have to be made down the hill, so I don't think that fence is going to be up for much longer. I think that's the fence you're asking about, correct? Going
yes.
up to Forest Drive down to the site?
Yes.
I apologize, I don't have an exact date, but I can certainly follow up with Justin and relay that to Mr. Brayman, and he can share that.
Thank you.
It's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Mr. Tremblay, if I could just urge you and your team to work on making up the time. When you all share information with us, we share with our constituents. So we shared with the public that we would have a building ready for them in January because that's what we were told. And so the most important thing was for us to have this open by June 14th because that is the date of death for Mr. Ely, which is the name of the person who the building is named for. And so we don't want to see any further delays, particularly past that date, because that is critically important to our community. So if we can just work on making sure we get closer towards the now past March date when we're supposed to be completed, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am, understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you again for your time.
Have a good night.
We want to get you that finish line and be able to have an open house and ribbon cutting and everything else that comes along with that. Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, Board of Elections on. You say you do or you don't? Okay. Do we have anyone from the Board of Elections? Okay, it says she's not on now. Mr. Galloway, do you want to move forward with your update? It looks like the representative from the Board of Elections is no longer with us.
Sure.
Can we have staff reach out to see if she's going to hop back on?
We can.
All right, thank you.
Mayor and Council, I don't have an update this evening. I just have reminders. Budget meeting is scheduled for April the 3rd. That is the police department's, that is the police department's section of the budget. April 17th will be the public works section of the budget. And April the 26th is the spring clean event here in the town. So please let your residents know that they have trash to throw away, to discard that day, they can. We will also have a shredding vehicle here. So if you have papers that need to be shredded, please bring them and they'll do them in front of you. But outside of a formal update, Mayor and Council, I don't have anything to update you all on right now, unless you all have any questions for me.
Councilmember Wade?
Is there a limit on the number of boxes to shred? Because usually there's a limit.
No, we've never ran into that issue.
Other things, other places, there's all like a two box limit, so there's no limit.
There's no limit.
Okay, I'll bring all 15 tomorrow.
We have a huge
Thank you very
industrial truck, so please bring them.
I usually bring a year's worth. It's tons, and it takes 30 seconds. It's a great little machine. Thank you, Mr. Galloway. I saw a hand. Is there resident input? If you'll come forward, please. Okay. So we're trying to make sure that that person comes forward. They were on before. We are running late, so I'm not sure if they had to go. But we may have to have them just come forward for our town session.
Are there any questions for me right now?
Looks like we're good.
Okay.
All right, Chief? I thought I saw DC instead of Chief. Oh, there you go.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Nothing in particular from the police department that's changed in the last 2 weeks, but the deputy chief and I are here to answer any questions that Mayor, Council may have or any community concerns.
Chief, there has been a significant change. Everyone has sweatshirts except for Mayor and Council. So we would like to be considered at the next sweatshirt purchase.
We can handle that. That's an easy one. Give me something more difficult.
All right, anyone else? Nope. All right, thanks, Chief.
I'm sorry?
It looks like there's no input or comment from Mayor and Council. Resident input?
Joyce Jones, Ward 2. First of all, just wanted to say thrilled also to be able to say chief and not interim chief. Great working with you. And I have inquired a couple of times about being on the Police Chief Advisory Board, and I've been told it's coming, or they're not sure who's in charge of it. So just want to put my hat in that again, and looking forward to being able to be part of it whenever it's active or reconstituted. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We look forward to having your participation.
All right. I think that's all for you, Chief. So with that, updates, Councilmember Garces?
All right. Hi, everybody. How you doing? First thing, I think I just want to go ahead and just thank Mr. Galloway and his crew for the pop-up food distribution. I know residents enjoyed it, they loved it, and we're very grateful for you all for that. Mayor, thank you for also being out there distributing the food to my residents. For an update-wise, Councilmember Fry and myself, we started doing ward walks again with the property manager and regional property manager. This last ward walk we had, well, more like ward stay, but you know, we had a nice turnout. We had about 12 residents, 13 residents that came up with concerns, and that's what we try to encourage our residents to come out in Ward 5 and discuss the issues and concerns that they have with the property managers. It went well. We we spoke a lot, especially about security, police activity as well. We spoke about, just living conditions at Ward 5, and I'm pretty satisfied of how that conversation went. Again, I just want to thank Councilmember Fry and Mayor and Chief and Deputy Chief for hanging in there. I know it's kind of cold. I got there a little late, but DC traffic is DC traffic. You can't ever beat that. But I just want to thank you guys for showing support. I appreciate you guys for everything you guys have been doing and have done for my ward as well. And also thanks to Councilmember Briner for also showing support and just going out there sometimes and just walking it with us. And I invite all council members to just take the time and just walk with us. I know Councilmember Wade had mentioned that there's a lot of events here and there in different wards, but I think I've personally invited everyone to come out and walk my ward. So it's like the invitation is there whenever you guys want. Just let me know ahead of time. We'll make the time and definitely walk, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not only one ward for each, but it's all of Cheverly, and I think it's only fair, right? But it is what it is, and but that's pretty much it. Oh, I think we also have an event coming up, right, with Chief, April 4th. What is it? What's it called? Pizza with the Popo? Pizza with the Popo. Pizza with the Popo, which residents are definitely excited about. And so if you guys have a chance, just come out there and just support it and just meet residents at my ward.
Okay, I did think that she was joking, but that's actually happening. Okay. Councilmember Garces, I want to thank you and Councilmember Fry for advocating for this community. It was really nice to meet with people who were highlighting that they have lived in Cheverly Station Apartments for 20 years. Those are long-term residents. And sometimes we have very misplaced misperceptions about folks that live in Cheverly Station Apartments. They're very much dedicated to their communities, and some of those are really long-term residents that want to make sure that they live in a safe place. So it was great to see them come out. With that, we have our April town meeting agenda. Any requests for that? We already know that we have our votes for our consent agenda, and we have to have an update for CREST just to know where that number is going to be.
Arbor Day proclamation.
Okay. Anything else? Councilmember Garces? Our next town session.
Well, I think just in general, I just want to know I personally haven't received a notification or communication in regards to why there wasn't a ballot box placed at the Cheverly Station Apartments. Right, I feel like at least my residents are owed that, and myself, right, and then Councilmember Fry. I feel like it just died. It just died. Like there was no communication from Board of Elections. It just never was pursued. So I want at least some type of communication or an explanation of why it was not done. If that's okay, Mr. Galloway.
I'll notify them. Thank you. I will notify them to make them aware. We have been trying to get in touch with the member of the Board of Elections, and unfortunately, we have not been successful in contacting them.
Okay. Our town session is 2 weeks from now. I would like to hear from council if you're interested in trying to have a special meeting with Board of Elections. They just made the decision not to have the ballot box. Of course, there was much opposition to it from several people, so it may have been in response to that, but obviously elections are sooner rather than later. So you all have to tell me if your schedules permit that or not, and if that's something you'd like to see. Councilmember Wade?
Am I for a special meeting regarding it?
Well, I saw your hand raised, but yes, if you want to speak to that, a special meeting before we get to town session.
For that, definitely for that. I have no problem with that. I was about to mention about something for the next meeting.
Okay.
WSSC Ward 1 property. About that, the property.
Water tower?
Yeah.
Tremont?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else for agenda items? All right. Well, with no future requests or additional agenda items, I will entertain a motion. Councilmember Garces?
Yeah, I just want to, it's more of a shout out to town staff again, and, which includes public works, as well as our police. They're constantly going around. Especially our police department, they're just out there, they're doing their thing. I don't know about y'all, but I've been feeling extra safe lately, with the whole 24/7 thing, Thanks to Chief, and thanks to the DC for that, as well as Mr. Galloway, thank you for all your hard work. I just want to thank Giselle, Yvonne, Aja, Ms. Tanya, definitely for the hard work that they put out there, and definitely reflects of the outstanding staff that you have. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else here at the table? All right, I see resident input. Would you like to come forward? Yeah.
Killing too many trees today. I'm passing this around just so that people can see what I'm referencing. I'm really appreciative that I had the opportunity to bring an issue forward that they understand the Board of Elections Supervisors is in contact with the town attorney to understand. I reached out because at the last Board of Elections meeting, I thought that I had heard that if 16-year-olds were registering to vote, and if they lacked any piece of mail or something verifying their address, that they would have to have an affidavit that they would sign and their parents or guardians would also sign. I found that distressing because it actually works against the idea of allowing for 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds to freely vote. It creates a barrier. And I brought it forward, and I just wanted you to hear from me, because I don't know how that subsequent conversation will go, and I assume it will come back to you at some point. But when we assume that every 16 and 17-year-old relationship is such that their parents will both have the time, the wherewithal, and the interest, or not be in opposition to them freely acting on the opportunity to vote at the age of 16 or 17, we are actually, quite honestly, acting from a point of privilege. And the situation can often be that a 16 or 17-year-old does not have the support of his or her parents or guardians in that regard. And it's another aspect that often works as a control factor in unhealthy relationships there. The added aspect of that is just in the spirit of supporting Vote 16 and Vote 17, when you say, oh, you get a right to vote if someone else steps forward and signs for you, it really is against the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish. I brought forward, back when we were looking at the right to vote for 16-year-olds, I did a lot of research in other municipalities and recalled and came back to the city of Hyattsville. The affidavit that they have applies to anyone who can't provide the documentation necessary, and they spell out that includes someone who's 16, and that individual has the opportunity to sign that they are attesting that they live at that address and that they meet the qualifications. So when that comes before you, which I anticipate it will, I wanted you to hear from me. It doesn't matter how many people, and it doesn't matter that, and I understand that our Board of Election Supervisors would do anything that they can individually if somebody comes up to them, but generally a 16 or 17-year-old isn't going to come up to you to say, this doesn't work for me, instead to not have the barriers be there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. We have more resident input.
Sheila Sella, Ward 2. I just wanted to ask whether it is true that that candidates don't have access to the voter list, the official voter list?
I don't know if I'm a candidate. I don't have access to a voter
I
list.
think Mr. Galloway has something to say.
If you're referring to the voter list that's provided by the Board of Election, the Board of Election,
County Board of Election?
the county, no, the town Board of
The
Election.
Town Board of Elections?
Which voter list are you referring to?
Any voter list. The candidates would need the voter list for their wards, or if the case is for the mayor, they would need the voter list for the entire town, right?
You can get a voter list from a third-party resource like MD Chris or something like that, but the town does not provide that list.
So you can buy it from the county, but that's only voters that are registered with the county and the state. The town has not released and has not decided whether in its benevolence it will release the town voter list, which is, I'm guessing, 70 or 80 folks who are registered only with the town. For whatever reason, they're military, they're non-citizens, they're 16 or 17 years old. That list has not been made available by the Board of Elections.
So the candidates would need those lists in order to campaign. Am I right?
No. I don't know if that's something the Board of Elections has decided something on, but particularly for non-citizens, it would be inappropriate to release the list.
And it was a question for the Board of Elections, so I sat in the right place.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So, again, Mr. Galloway, if I can ask that you reach out to Board of Elections to see if we can try to get a special meeting, that would be great, because folks have lots of questions.
Sure.
And rightfully so. All right. Is there a motion? Councilmember Garces?
I just want to add to my shout out. Shout out to Natalie as well.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the advocacy for folks being able to vote. It'd be great if we had that same advocacy for folks that have been disenfranchised at Cheverly Station Apartments. So I would love, as we come up with questions and ideas for the Board of Elections, that if you have creative ideas for how we can make sure other people who have historically been left out of the ability to easily have access and have additional barriers to voting, if you've got suggestions on how to improve that you consider that when we have the meeting with Board of Elections as well. Councilmember Briner.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, it's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Have a good night.